Yo no he tomado, pero me voy a tomar un traguito ahora. Y sé que lo que más espero, lo más que se me enamora. 3, 7, 10, ya no me dejes, pero si al ver digo tu nombre, ya verás quién es. Soy el perro a tus pies, que te muerde la costilla y las estrellas brillan. La luna se sienta en su silla. Que toma lunita y por qué estás tan amarilla. Bueno, ya estoy cansada, mis hijas ya me dicen viejita. Tengo el pelo tan seco, mi piel ya no brilla, pero el mundo es tuyo y en esta noche eres mía. Así que quédate, quédate luna, quédate, quédate. no es tomar, pero me voy a tomar un traguito ahora. Y sé que lo que más espero lo mal que se me enamora. Lo mal que se me enamora.
Ton visage me dit quelque chose. Je t'ai déjà croisé dans la ville. Je vais pas te mentir, j'ai pas maté tes choses. T'es la plus fraîche si tu veux mon avis. Vas-y, prends l'appel, quand tu veux t'appelles. Je serai à l'hôtel, dans un nuage de fumée. Je te vois derrière les putains. Je viens amnésique. Je crois que ton corps me rappelle les souvenirs d'Amérique. Bébé, là j'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Bébé, là j'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, appelle-moi ce soir et je démarre de la sauce. Angela, appelle-moi ce soir et je démarre de la sauce. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, oublier le Banks. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. J'ai envie de faire le temps. Angela, fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, oublier le Banks. J'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Bébé, dis-moi ce que tu veux faire. Dans quel resto tu veux manger? Est-ce que ça te dérange si je conduis vite ou est-ce que t'aimes le danger? N'aie pas peur, non, non, j'ai pas de cœur. Ouais, mais je prendrai soin de toi comme la recette d'un braqueur. Ouais, ouais, Atikyo, pas homme de zouk, mais homme de sous. Je fais des tonnes de billets, viens m'en prendre un petit peu. Tu vois le Porsche, je suis en dessous, je suis dans le zoo. Mais t'es la seule que je laisserai me descendre un petit feu. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, oublier le Banks. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, oublier le Banks. Bébé, là j'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi ce soir et je démarre de la zone. Je démarre de la zone. Regarde-moi dans les yeux et je deviens amnésique. Je crois que ton corps me rappelle des souvenirs d'Amérique. Bébé, là j'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Bébé, là j'ai envie de faire le temps. Fais-moi oublier le Banks. Angela, appelle-moi ce soir et je démarre de la sauce. Angela, appelle-moi ce soir et je démarre de la sauce. Oublier le Banks. Angela.
Changer, oui, je sais. Mais chez toi, tout est si fait. Je ne juge pas les caméras, les Ferrari jaunes et le champagne.
ne vis que dans le virtuel. Pour nous, tu n'as plus aucun mystère. Tes jupes aussi courtes que les mille longs.
Good morning, everyone. Morning, Shafiq. Morning, Samuel. Yeah, you guys can hear my voice clearly, right? Yeah, all right. Okay, nice. So, yeah, welcome back to day 2, basic TAS and TRBC. Right. So, yesterday, okay, a little bit class. Yesterday we did for create our TAS project, okay, and also all projects import the drawing. Okay, for the drawing sources, we have few types of drawing sources. PDF, AutoCAD, scan PDF, given pixel, we are able to import it. Okay, so what are the elements that we actually encounter? Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly? All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So yesterday we learned on a few elements. Okay, for column, beam. Okay, slab, RC wall, masonry wall, and also door window opening, and also the lintel. We're using the auto arrange function. Right. So okay, if you opening your model, okay, as what we said yesterday, okay, you will see the model that is actually completed for some of the structure and also the block, okay, the brick wall, okay, and also the brick wall, right? So the next one, okay, the next item we are going to talk about is our finishes. Okay, we're going to talk about finishes, right? So, okay, would like to let you guys know, okay, before that, let me resume the recording.
Recording in progress.
Right. So for the finishes from the element tab here, it's actually fall under finishes element. Okay, so in the finishes element, right? In the finishes element, you will see there are a few things. Okay, the first one, it will be on room. Okay, and there are some finishes, skirting, wall finishes, ceiling finishes, and ceiling finishes. Okay, so from here, I'm going to explain to you what is actually the differences there, what we actually can do it. Okay, for the first one, okay, I'm going to leave the room finishes, okay, to the last. Okay, so for the first one, actually for the floor finishes. So for the floor finishes, you are able to create a horizontal and also vertical floor finish. right? So for the horizontal and vertical floor finish, it will be something like, for example, this one, something in the toilet, okay, nearby the toilet. We have a drops at the toilet. So this is our our vertical finishes. This is our horizontal floor finishes, right? We can actually generate out for both. Okay, so for the waterproofing, also the same case, horizontal waterproofing and also vertical waterproofing. Okay, skirting, okay, it will be on the skirting only. Wall finishes, also the same. Ceiling finishes and suspended ceiling. Okay, ceiling finishes, it will be the bare finishes, okay, the finishes attached to the upper floor. For example, this is first floor. Okay, this is my ground floor. If the ceiling finishes, it will be the finishes on the upper floors slab. Okay, for the suspended ceiling, it will be something like it will be having a hanger to hang your plasterboard ceiling example, right? So those are individual finishes that we can actually create and also point to that particular uh, parent entity. For example, okay, let me show you an example. Say if I have a wall, okay, I have four sides of the wall. If I'm using one by one, okay, I create a new finishes. For example, I create a plaster. Okay, don't need to follow me. Okay, just explain to you. Okay, you can actually create the wall finishes plastering and then use the point function to point it at each side of the wall. Okay, so this is how we can actually point the finishes, but this is not that flexible enough. Okay, so normally we will receive some kind of finishes schedule. Okay, if you refer to the training material, okay, if you refer to the training material that I sent to you guys, okay, so you will have this Excel file. Okay, this Excel file or even the data is actually in the AutoCAD file or PDF. We actually can identify it. Okay, it will be a little bit similar to our door and window schedule. We will need to identify all the information, okay, and then they will create a room, right? So what is actually a room means, okay, for example, this one, we have type A bedroom, the floor finishes, wall finishes, ceiling finishes, and skirting, okay, what are the finishes, okay, that we have for one particular room. So back to our software, okay, back to the software, you will see the room. Okay, in software, in TAS software, we actually read as room. So it will be, okay, the principle is actually, you're going to create a room, for example, bedroom. Okay, so for the bedroom, I'm going to assign what are the finishes, my floor finishes to the room. Is there any waterproofing for that room? Okay, my skirting and my wall finishes, and I have my ceiling finishes. Okay, so I have one room associated with other finishes. Okay, so then I'm going to use a point function to just point it directly, okay, to the enclosed area. Okay, remember when we're using point function, we're using enclosed area, right? So this is the principle of it. Okay, by one click, okay, and then you click on the room within the enclosed area, all the wall finishes, waterproofing, skirting, ceiling finishes that we assign to the room, it will be appeared for the particular enclosed area, right? So also you can actually do it the flexible way, which is you create one by one the floor finish, you point it once, and then you create wall finishes, you point for four sides of the wall, okay, that will be on the manual part, right? So so for today, okay, let us focus on, okay, let us double click on the ARCHI ground floor plan. Okay, we double click on the ARCHI ground floor plan on the drawing manager. Okay, the reason why I want to call out my drawing is because I want to know what is the what is the room name I having now. Okay, so we're going to focus on one particular part, which is the top right hand side. Okay, this part. Okay, we just focus on the wet kitchen. Okay, we just focus on the wet kitchen at the moment, right? For the top right hand side for the plan. Right. So here we go to the room. Okay, make sure we add the room. Okay, make sure we add the room. Then you will see there is a at the identify tab, I have finished schedule. Okay, at draw tab, I also having a finished schedule. Right. So for identify tab, as I said, everything is related to drawing. Okay, if the information is fall within the drawing, you can actually use in this finish schedule, because if I click on it, it will ask me to select the finish schedule to identify. But currently I have my finish schedule in Excel, right? Therefore, I am not able to use this function. I need to go to my draw tab, finish schedule. Okay, draw tab, finish schedule. Okay, you have to go to the draw tab and the finish schedule. Once you click on it, there will be the identify finish schedule. Okay, the identify finish schedule. From this path, you are also able to select your CAD data. Okay, you are also able to select the CAD data. But as we are having the data from the Excel, I'm going to select import Excel file. Okay, I'm going to select import Excel file. Okay. You need to select import Excel file. All right. So for those who are still haven't get the trading material, okay, or miss out some part, okay, I'm going to paste the link again. Right. So this will be the link. Okay, I'm just copy to the chat box. Okay, you can get the material and also the Excel file. Okay. Right. So after you download, okay, we need to click on the import Excel file. Okay, you click on the import Excel file, you need to find the Excel file. Okay, you need to find the Excel file. So from here, I'm actually saving in my desktop. Okay, you need to find the finishers table. Okay, finishers table. One moment. Okay, so make sure you import the Excel file. So click on the finish schedule in the draw tab, then identify finish schedule, import the Excel file. Okay. So it will be a little bit similar to our door and window schedule. You will need to identify at the first row. Okay, at our first row, we need to identify the column title to representing each column, right? So for the first one, okay, as you can see, this is the thing that we identify, and those are the information we're going to transmit to our row number one, right? The first column is actually area. Okay, in our software, bear in mind, we don't have location, we don't have area, we only have room. Okay, we read as a room. Okay, we just select room for the first column. Okay, the first column we select for the room. Right, then the second one, floor finishes. Okay, we just make sure it's actually correct. Interior wall finishes, ceiling finishes, skirting, okay, and the corresponding floor is actually by default, it will be set from the software, okay, to representing to you, we're actually currently using the zone number one, okay. So all the information is correct. So now I'm going to select row number two. I'm going to delete this row number two. It's no longer be applicable already, right? So I will just highlight the whole, select the whole row number two, and then I just right click, delete the row. Okay, you can just right click and then delete the row. So make sure the first row is actually our room. Okay, and then we will have total 8 rooms. Okay, total 8 rooms will be identified. Okay, we have type A and type B, total 8 rooms. Similar case, it will be after you click on identify. So the 8 rooms, it will be going to the element list here. Okay, you're going to the element list. So we try to click on the identify. Okay, it will be a prompt stating that there is actually 8 rooms, 5 floor finishes, 5 skirting, 3 wall finishes, and 2 ceiling finishes identified. And you will wonder, one thing is actually in the element list, you already have the 8 numbers of the room element. Okay, I can just click on OK, and I just close this identify finish schedule tab. Right. Okay. Okay, so you already have your room. Okay, you will see for room finishes, and you're comparing to yesterday our element. For common element, for example, column, beam, slab, wall, you only have element list and attribute editor. Okay, but for room, there will be a little bit more. Okay, comparing to the others element, which is how you read actually from here. You will have the element list for the room. Okay, each of the room elements, you will have their own attribute editor. Okay, yes, and also there will be the attached element type, meaning to say for this particular type A bedroom, I will have one floor finishes bucket. I have my skirting bucket. I have my wall finishes, and I have my ceiling finishes, plaster and paint. Okay, so this is what we call as a attached element type, right? So all these attached element type, it will be automatically being transmitted to the individual finishes, floor finishes, waterproofing, skirting. Okay, it will be automatically transmitted. Later we can actually open and see. Then each of the finishes here, they have their own element attribute. They have the attached element attribute. Okay, so take example, if I click on bucket, so for this bucket, for this attached room, I'm having 15 mm thickness. Okay, and the positioning is actually at the top of it. Okay, and the elevation. Okay, so I know that my floor finish, I am having bucket, right? So if I click on the floor finish, okay, and the bucket, it will automatically in this element list, and some other element is actually been automatically generated in our individual finishes. Okay, so this is how we can actually set the particular room element attribute. Right. So in the attached element type, okay, in attached element type, you have another two function, which is you can create a new finishes. For example, this one suspended ceiling. I can create a new suspended ceiling from here directly, or I can choose from the existing element. Okay, the existing element that ceiling finishes they have. So ceiling finishes currently I have plaster and paint, plaster and moisture resistant paint, right? So if I add my room, I want to change it. I don't want this plaster and paint. Okay, I can actually choose from the existing one. You can actually choose plaster and paint or plaster and moisture. Okay, for example, the wall as well. You can choose. You have 4 wall finishes and here. So in these wall finishes, I also have 4 selection for me to choose. Okay, either you want to create a new finishes or you want to use the existing finishes element. Okay, right. So we already done the preparation. We identify the schedule. Okay, and we have the room finishes. And in the room finishes, we have the attached element. Right. So in the attached element, now we are going to focus at the top right hand side, okay, just below the swimming pool. I'm actually the grid line DE, okay, I'm actually having a wet kitchen. Okay, we focus on this wet kitchen. Okay, so for this wet kitchen, as we see from 3D, it will be only a bare without the finishes, okay, without any finishes currently, right? So in this case, I'm going to locate from this room element, okay, which one is the appropriate for this wet kitchen. But from here, I can see you can actually use type A or type B kitchen, okay. So I will need to select type A kitchen first, okay. We select type A kitchen, we click on it. Then similar principle, you need to use point function and you will need to select the enclosed area, okay. The enclosed area formed by the wall or the enclosed area formed by the column, okay, or curbs. So make sure I'm having this point function and I can point easily within the particular enclosed area. Okay, if you successfully point and you have the green, not green color, this purple color, okay, already yes, you got it, Brian? Okay, sure. Right, so now I'm in my wet kitchen here. Okay, so I choose for this type A kitchen. Okay, I click on the type A kitchen. Then I want to point now. So I just hit to the draw tab, this point function. Okay, and then you just point it. Okay, right? So how about our friend from the Zoom? Are you able to get this purple color finishes generated? Yes, give me a yes. One moment, let me see. Okay, can you hear me clearly now? Right. Okay, so from here, okay, the purple color, okay, this purple color, what is actually meant for that? So this purple color is actually our ceiling finishes. If we look at our 3D, okay, we look at our 3D, this is actually our our ceiling finishes. So our ceiling finish, I want to hide it maybe. So I just press on the shortcut. So I will just press on the shortcut E. Okay, I will just press on the shortcut E. So I don't want to see inside. Okay, I want to see inside clearly. I press on the E. Okay, so this is how we can actually point our finishes. Okay, this is how we can actually point our finishes. Right. So I would like you to focus on the skirting I'm having now. Okay, I want you to focus on here. So from here, you were able to see by one click, you're able to get your floor finishes, able to get your skirting, okay, and your wall finishes and the ceiling finish that just now we hide it by pressing the E, right? So yeah, one thing I would like you to focus on, which is the skirting, right? So yesterday when I talked about the private and public attribute, okay, for the private attribute, we will need to select the entity first. Only we can do the value adjusting, right? We can do the value adjusting. But in this case, if I'm selecting my skirting, okay, I'm selecting my skirting, it will be quite troublesome for me to need to select a whole room skirting. I want to change. Let's say currently my skirting, I want to change to from 150 mm, I want to change to 500 mm, example, right? You can just focus on my screen here, right? You focus on my screen. So how we can actually do the changing for that? Okay, I'm not going to select. Okay, as you can see, I'm not going to select one by one. Okay, I'm not going to select one by one. It's actually quite troublesome for me to choose it, right? So I will have one function. It's what we call regenerate finish entity. The regenerate finish entity, what is the function of it? Is currently my skirting, I'm having 150 mm. If I make the changes to become 500 mm, okay, I'm expecting the skirting it will move up to 500 mm. But in fact, okay, so there are another scenario. Say, if you can see from the model here, I'm actually having an opening here. Okay, you can just focus on my screen. Okay, I'm expecting. Okay, this is the dining and also living. I'm assuming this dining and living sharing the same finishes. I want it to be okay for the finishes. So I want it to be cover until this particular point. Okay, to cover until this particular point. Okay, I don't want to go beyond that. I don't want to go to the casual dining, right? So let me try my luck. Okay, so for example here, living room, I'm using living room to point it. Okay, so there will be a situation is okay, there will be a situation which is I only want it to stop at this particular point, but it's actually generated automatically at the casual dining. Okay, how I'm going to do it? Okay, how am I going to do it? I don't want it to go until this particular part, right? Reason being, okay, reason being is if you can see this is N. Oh, okay. Jenny give an answer. Okay, so reason being is I'm having a opening here. Okay, I don't have the enclosed area. Okay, so I will need to create an enclosed area. But if I create my enclosed area by prolong this brick wall, it's not making sense. Okay, it's not according to our design, right? So what we can do is we have a function is what we call separation line. A separation line, okay, a separation line is a virtual line, okay, to form, okay. One moment. Okay, a separation line is a line as a virtual line. Okay, it won't carry any value. Okay, so it will be forming a enclosed area, right? It will forming an enclosed area, right? So let us try to draw a separation line here to form an enclosed area. Okay, I will just need to select for the separation line here, and then I use line to draw it out the straight line, okay, to cover it up. Okay, I no need to draw for the whole stretch of it. Also 7, okay, just beside this.
Recording in progress.
Click on this separation line. Click on separation line here. Okay. And click to separation having 3 dots here. Anyone able to get the separation line? Yes.
Recording in progress.
Okay, right. So once you create the separation line, okay, once you create a separation line, so the next thing, okay, we can just click on the type A living room, click on point, and then you just point it, and then you see whether is it the thing that we want.
Recording in progress.
So with this separation line, you're able to get it. Okay, you're able to get the area that you wish to get. Okay, you will actually stop at here. All right. Okay, next. Right. So next one, you need to think a little bit out of the box. Okay, you need to think a little bit out of the box. Meaning to say, I'm actually pointing the room in an enclosed area, right? So how about the external finishes? So external finishes, in fact, we have so many walls, right? For the external wall finishes. So we can actually, okay, let me just close all the layer. It's actually confusing, right? Okay, you can actually close all the layers, right? So if you are doing it manually, you create the wall finishes and then you point it one by one walls, okay, also can be done. But you can think out of the box, which is later I'm going to use back the same function, separation line. Okay, but I'm not going to use line. I'm going to use the rectangle function. Okay, and I'm going to draw the whole separation line. And then I'm going to create a room for the external finishes. And I use point to point it the enclosed area so that all my external wall will attach with my external wall finishes. Okay, there will be a concept of that. Okay, I explain again. Okay, so just now that what we did, okay, from here for the kitchen, we actually point at the enclosed area. Okay, we point at this any point. So my finishes, it will go along to the wall, go to the column, go for the ceiling, right? is actually need to have one condition, which is enclosed area. Okay, so we're going to use the function of separation line as well with the rectangle function, but we need to open the random point. Only we can actually draw it later on. I'm going to draw the whole big piece that covering the whole boundary of the building. Okay, to form this as an enclosed area of behind the condition enclosed area. Okay, make sure it's actually in the enclosed area. Then in my room, I'm going to create a room for the external wall finishes only. Then I'm going to use point function to point it any point of it. Okay, I just point any point so that later on all the external wall they will be attached with the external wall finishes. Okay, they'll be attached to the external wall finishes. Okay, so we try together, everyone. We try together. So the first step, okay, the first step, I'm going to create the room finishes first. Okay, I'm going to create a new room. Okay, you go to the room, and then click on the add button, add a room. Okay, by default it's room -1. We just rename it to become external wall finishes. Okay, there will be the external wall finishes created. Okay, external wall finishes. The next thing, I'm going to create a wall finishes here. Okay, to attach it. Okay, we can click on the wall finishes, and then we can actually create a new element, or we can actually using the existing element. So in this case, I will click on the new wall finish. Okay, I'll click on new wall finish. So let me click on it. So the name, it will be, let me put it, weather shield. Okay, I will just put the value as the name as the weather shield plastering, painting and plaster. Okay, that is actually my external wall finishes. Okay, interior, exterior, I'm going to change to external wall finishes. Okay, so from here, we learn how we can create the room ourselves by not using identify. We create one external wall finishes, and I create a new wall finishes by renaming it at the name and also the external wall finishes. Okay, so we are ready for that. So the next thing, okay, focus in the draw tab, on the draw tab here. Okay, we're going to click on, okay, we're going to open the random point first at the moment. Okay, let us open the random point, click on it, click on the random point, and then at the draw tab, click on the separation line and click on the rectangle function. Okay, make sure two things is being selected, rectangle and also the separation line. Okay, so for the first time when you click on separation line and then you click on your rectangle, it will be automatically deselect the separation line. So make sure rectangle, separation line and the random point is being ticked. And then I just specify my corner point of the rectangle. I left click once, and then I move my mouse, okay, and I left click another time, and I right click to proceed. Okay, so after you right click to proceed, you will feel nothing is happening. Okay, in fact, if you move your mouse, you move your cursor, okay, to the corner of it, you're actually having a line of it. Okay, this line is actually our separation line, but we cannot see from naked eye because the thickness is too thin. So what we can do is, we back to the batch. Okay, back to batch. I can select my all separation line. Okay, you can either choose from the drawing here, choose from the model here one by one, or you back to the batch, scroll to the last element, separation line. Okay, and then click on OK. Okay, so for all the separation line is being selected, right? So you can see the attribute editor is actually referring to the separation line. Currently it's 5 mm, it's too small, you cannot see. So I will just change to 50 mm perhaps. And then you press escape, then you will see a golden color, golden line of it. Okay, so you know that this is our separation line, is actually forming an enclosed area for me to point. Okay. Okay, so this is the enclosed area. So now we can go to the room function. Okay, go to the room function, select this external wall finishes, add the draw tab, click on the point function, and then we just point it freely within the enclosed area. Okay, so after I point it, you will see, okay, some of you might have the gap check. Okay, there will be a gap check prompt stating for you. Okay, so for this gap check is actually a notification for you that we actually having we actually notice that you will have few gap that need to check on that, right? As you can see, the first one I actually have two. You're not sure what is actually that means, you can just double click on the particular things. Okay, you can see. All right, so from here it's actually it's actually my swimming pool wall and my brick wall is having a problem. Okay, so I can actually just click on expand, or you can actually auto process it. Okay, after I auto process, okay, in total, and then I just click on OK. Right, so then I just doing back the same method. Okay, the same steps. Room, external wall finishes, click on the point, and then I point it. So is anyone getting a big piece of the purple color? Right. Yep, sure. One moment. Let me repeat again. Okay, so after you create the separation line, we are forming an enclosed area outside, right? So if you try and attempt to click on the external wall finishes. And then I click on the point function. Let's say I point it, okay, there will be a gap check. It will ask you to check, okay, the gap that actually not forming the enclosed area. So normally it will be happens at these particular two location here. So if you don't know, you can just double click on it. So you can see this is the first part, and this is the second part. Okay, so normally you can just click on auto process. Okay, it will be a process in 2 gaps in total. Right, if you already process it, okay, let's say this one. Okay, so let's say this one, okay, if you cannot auto process it, okay, I would recommend you to prolong this wall. Okay, you can prolong this wall. Okay, and then we just click on. Oops. You can extend the wall. Okay, you can just extend the wall. Okay, and then just click on the room finishes again. Okay, you point back again. Okay, so you're able to get the room finishes being generated up. Okay, so for this green purple color is actually not it's actually indicating my room finishes. Okay, it's actually not my finishes color. Okay, it's actually indicating the room finishes. So as you can see, this one, you will have a purple color line box indicating the room coverage. Okay, so in this you can actually check for your external wall, is that all the wall is actually having the external wall finishes. All right, so this is how we can actually do for one floor. For ground floor, for structural element, column, beam, slab, RC wall, masonry wall, door and window opening. Okay, with the opening we have the lintel. Then with the finishes we need to have an enclosed area. For the finishes, we're using the room function to point it, or if you want to point it manually one by one also can. Okay, it depends on you. If there is a condominium type of the project, you can just do it one by one. You can just do it by using the room, right? And the external finishes, we're using a tricks, which is create a separation line to form an enclosed area outside the box. Okay, and then we just click on the external wall finish room, okay, to point it within the enclosed area, right? So okay, so this is the overall for the ground floor. Okay, so I noticed we actually still having a staircases. Okay, staircases, I'm going to leave it to tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to leave it to tomorrow morning session before our evaluation, right? So for the ground floor, okay, still remember yesterday I mentioned to you guys on the floor settings on the number of typical floor, right? The number of typical floor that I would not that recommend you guys to use it because you don't have the flexibility to change the certain floors element, right? So now, okay, so now let's say you have a condominium, okay, you're actually sharing the same layout, same finishes, same structure to my first floor. How we can actually copy everything back to my first floor, as currently everything I have is actually in ground floor. Okay, everything I have in ground floor. So we have going to have an assumption. Okay, we assume that my first floor is actually identical to my ground floor. How am I going to do so? Okay, so in this case, if you refer to the draw tab, you will see there's a function copy by floor. Okay, there's a function copy by floor. So for this copy by floor, there will be copy to other floor and copy from other floor. Okay, remember, currently I have the model in my ground floor. Okay, if I add ground floor, I will need to choose and I will need to copy to other floor. Okay, it works both way. Or if you add the navigation tab, you choose for the first floor first. And in fact, first floor, you don't have anything. You don't have any model now, right? So in this case, if you're at first floor, you want to copy the model from ground floor. So at first floor, then you need to select copy from other floor, right? There will be we work both way, okay, vice versa. Okay, so I will stick back to my ground floor. Okay, we stick back to the ground floor, everyone, stick back to the ground floor. You can just off all the layer for the drawings because it's actually a little bit confusing, right? A little bit confusing. So I have the full model here. I have the column beam wall slab, okay, the RC wall, masonry wall, everything. Okay, now I'm going to copy it, okay, right. So to copy it, okay, go to the draw tab. Okay, go to the draw tab and then copy by floor. We're going to choose to other floor. Okay, after you copy it, there will be a status bar at the below. Select the entity in the current floor of the current zone. Okay, and then you right click to confirm. Okay, in this case, you can actually open the cross element select. Click on the cross element select. You select the whole thing. Okay, you select the whole thing. Select the whole thing. Okay, you just left click and drag everything, and then right click to confirm. Right click to confirm. You'll be coming to an interface. Copy selected entity to other floor. Which floor you want to copy to? I want to copy to my first floor. Okay, so I will just blue tick my first floor. Okay, I blue tick my first floor and then I click on OK. Okay, after you click on OK, there will be the prompt stating that the entity copy succeeds. Okay, click on OK. So we're just going to check it whether is it actually copy it correctly or not. So I go to my, from the navigation, I go to my first floor. Okay, there you go. You are having your first floor element. Okay, for the training purposes, don't think about the logical way because normally from here we don't have we won't have any car course at the first floor lah. Okay, so we just practice on how we can actually copy to my first floor, right? And in case, okay, if you wonder, okay, so those are the things that we do not need. Okay, there are some of the things, for example, the swimming pool wall, swimming pool A slab at the first floor. Okay, for this case, you can actually use the function. You use the batch function to select the swimming pool wall and also select the swimming pool slab, which I do not need it in my first floor. And then I can just press delete. Okay, so again, in my first floor, I know that I don't need this swimming pool wall, swimming pool slab. So I can go to the batch, similar case, go to the wall, select the swimming pool wall. For slab, select for the swimming pool slab, click on OK, and then the swimming pool element is being selected, and then I just click on delete. Okay, I just press delete. Okay, I just press delete, and then you can make the modification. Okay, you can make the modification also, right? Okay, right. So those are the things we can actually do the modification, and then okay, then as I said just now, yesterday, if I amend one thing, the ground floor and first floor, if I delete the swimming pool it will be deleted for ground floor as well, right? So by using this method just now, okay, I try to open my all floors. Okay, you can try to open the all floors from here, the second last button. Okay, the second last button for the view tab. Okay, there's a drop down. You can actually see for the current floor, adjacent floor, or we can actually view for the all floors. Okay, we try to view all floors. Okay, so when you view the all floors, so those are the flexibility that we're actually providing, which is at my first floor, I delete my swimming pool wall, swimming pool slab, and my ground floor, I still remain, I'm still having this element, okay, which is correct. Okay, if not, if you are using the function of the floor settings here, if you delete the swimming pool wall, swimming pool slab, the ground floor and first floor, it will be deleted automatically, right? Okay, so you can see this is the first floor and this is the ground floor. Okay, and I'm actually selecting my first floor. All my axis grid and also the drawing is actually located at my first floor. Okay, you see the axis grid here. Right, so I back to normal. Okay, so coming back, okay, we're going to have our 15 minutes break. Coming back, we're going to move it to our foundation floor. And in our foundation floor, we will have few elements. Okay, you have few elements. The first one, okay, the first one, this is my ground floor, right? Okay, in my ground floor, I have my column. Am I right? Okay, this is my first floor. So my first floor, and my foundation floor, I will have my column stump. Okay, and I have my pile cap. Okay, beneath the pile cap, I have my link concrete, my bedding. And then I will have my excavation. Okay, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. Right, I will have 4 elements. So this is the column stump. Okay. Okay, so these 4 elements coming back, we're going to focus on, okay, in the foundation level, right? So we're going to have our 15 minutes break, okay?
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so we have a question from Samuel. Okay, when copy the other floors, element list also copy together, but I notice the room element list is empty. Right? Why and how to handle this? Okay, so for the first question, if you refer to your ground floor, Ground floor, yes. In fact, we actually have 1, 2, 3. We actually have 9 rooms, but what we actually utilize only for 3 rooms element. Okay, so when you copy, okay, when you copy up, it will be only okay. When you copy the whole model, it will be copy the element that actually used. Okay, which is these 3 elements only. Right, only these 3 elements is being used. Okay, so we copy to that. Okay, so if you want to copy the whole thing, you want to copy the whole thing to your first floor as well, you can actually, you can just control alternate, and then you right click, there will be copy to other floor, then that will be copied to the element. Only the element copy to the element list, but not the model, right? So in this case, let me just copy, take example. I will just copy the 9 rooms to the other floors. I copy to my first floor. Okay, so the element is being copied to the, okay, it's being copied to the first floor. Okay, it's being copied to the first floor. But if your model having a few, the 3 room element automatically be copied. Okay, it will be automatically being copied, right? And then the second question, when we generate finished entity, does the changes apply to all floors or just the selected floors? Right, good question as well. Okay, so from here, okay, the regenerate finished entity is only applicable for that particular one floor. Okay, meaning to say, for example, I actually change some settings in ground floor, okay, and then I regenerate finished entity, okay, only that particular ground floor will having the effect. Okay, so if you have a repetitive floors, okay, the correct workflow it will be, let's say you're doing in a ground floor, everything is set correctly first, then you just copy the whole model to other floor. Okay, there will be the correct method. Okay, there will be the correct method. All right. Okay, so okay, welcome. No problem. So back to the element that I'm talking about just now before the break. You're going to have 4 elements: column stump, hull cap, blinding, and also excavation. So we have these 4 elements, right? So these 4 elements, it will fall under category of foundation floors, right? For the foundation floors. So now we just move to the navigation tab. We move to the foundation floor. Okay, navigation tab. We move to the foundation floor. Right. Okay. So in the foundation floor, as we are having now, okay, from the drawings, okay, if you refer to the structural drawing, we actually have what we call hull cap layout. Okay, actually have a hull cap details 04 hull cap details with the hull cap indication layout and also the details here that we have. Okay, so we are going to similar steps. We are going to import our hull cap details in the drawing manager. Click on it. Okay, and then we can actually find the drawings. Okay, the hull cap layout 04 hull cap details. Okay, we double click on it, the hull cap details. Okay, similarly, it's a little bit small. Okay, try to find the hull cap details. Okay, so the hull cap details is not in scale. Okay, so after we import, we need to scale the drawing. So make a practice. Okay, off your random point, and then do the scaling. Okay, right click directly to scale it. So in this case, anyone can tell me, do I need to split the drawing? Do I need to split the drawing? Hannah, how you think? Do I need to split the drawing for this pocket? detail? No, okay, right? So yes, we do not need to split the drawing because we only have one layout, okay, from this drawing. Okay, so in this case, we can just skip the split function. We go to the relocate, left click on the relocate button, find the 9A intersection. Okay, and then you just relocate it back to the axis grid. Right. So in this case, you're able to get the power cap layout connected to our axis grid. Yeah. Let's try to import the drawing, scale the drawing, and then relocate the drawing to the axis grid. Right? Okay. Import the drawing, scale the drawing without the random point function. Okay, and then relocate it to the axis grid. Okay, so the first item, okay, it will
Recording in progress.
the copy by floor. Okay, you can click on copy by floor. Okay, we do it together, right? So first, click on copy by floor. In this round, I want to copy my ground floor column, and I'm in my foundation floor. I need to copy from other floor. Okay, I need to copy from other floor. Okay, I copy from other floor. And in this situation, I only need my column. Any other element, I need to deselect it. Okay, and then the foundation, you click on OK. Okay, so I repeat again. So once you relocate the axis grid, okay, so as we know that my ground floor column, okay, it will be a continuation to my foundation floor, right? So in this case, I'm going to use the function copy by floor, and I'm in foundation floor. I'm going to copy from other floor. Okay, there are a few things we need to make sure. First, the source of the floor is ground floor. Second, I only need to select my column. Others I deselect. Okay, foundation column only, and my target, it will be my foundation floor. Okay, my target will be my foundation floor, and I click on OK. Okay, and I click on OK, and then OK. Okay, so yes, for the column, perhaps we have few column only currently, right? Because in my in our ground floor, it's also have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6. I have 7 columns only now. So as you can see now, all the column is actually being copied to my foundation, and my foundation column is having a 1.5 meter high. Okay, all the column is 1.5 meter. Okay, and you will see comparing to ground floor, a little bit shorter compared to this ground floor, right? So this is how we can actually copy our column. Okay, we make full use of it. We are not going to create and also do it one by one. Okay, we're not going to do it one by one. So we can just copy from my ground floor to my first floor. Okay, and then from the layout, you can see those are the indication of my column. Okay, and yes, it's actually in the same place in the right coordination by the help of our axis grid line. Okay, so from here, my column sum consider complete. Okay, so the next item, it will be on power cap. Okay, the next will be on power cap, right? So for the power cap, okay, also the same. Okay, everything in the foundation floor, it will be fall under this foundation lah. Okay, in the foundation, you can see you have a power cap, okay, you have the blinding pad foundation. Okay, for this one, I'm going to choose for the power cap. For power cap also, you will have few selection. You will have rectangular power cap, irregular power cap, parametric power cap, and custom power cap. Okay, those power cap, okay, this is the parametric one. So we try to practice on the auto identify. Okay, not sure whether the drawings quality is good or not. Okay, in this PDF drawing, right? I will just stick to the power cap element. Back to the identify. Okay, everything related to drawing is identify tab. 3 simple steps as in my column. Pick side line, pick label, and auto identify. Okay, the side line, it will be on this yellow color line. Okay, first side line, the yellow color line. Label, it will be on this green color font, and then you just click on auto identify. Right, so we try ourselves. First, left click on pick side line, and then we left click on yellow color line, and then you right click to confirm. Second step, left click on pick label, left click on the P2, the font, okay, the green color font, and you right click to confirm. The next step will be auto identify. Okay, it will be generated out a total 31 power caps identified in total, right? Okay. So in this case, this one is actually our P2, okay? So for example, the first one, after I identify it, the first one is actually an unnamed, okay? And this case, the quality of the drawing still not up to the standard, okay? So it will generate out the element list without the name. But if you want to know the name, okay, we can just right click and quick find entity. And this is actually our P2. Okay, so in this case, perhaps you can just change the name to become the P2. Okay, and the second part, let me see this one. And this is our P3. Okay, in fact, you see the P2, we still have another P2 yet. Okay, so this is the thing that a little bit troublesome when we deal with this kind of drawings. Okay, so from here, from the model, yes, we already complete, and we open back all the layer to see, and all the power cap, okay, on top there will be a column. Okay, in this is not full. Okay, in this is not full currently. Right, so this is, we can actually create our power cap by using the auto identify method. Right, if you're doing it one by one, for example, let me, this one, Okay, for this shape, actually, you can actually use the function of irregular. Okay, similarly, I can use it. I can select the section. I can directly select this thing and click on OK. So I have this created manually, and I can point it freely using F4. So this is also the one of the method, okay, for us to do. Okay, there'll be one of the method to do also. Right. So for PowerCap, you have auto identify, also the same. Or we use the manual method. Okay, the manual method, it will be the one that just now I mentioned. Okay, we create one by one, you point, use the point function to point. Right. The next one will be on blinding. Okay. Blinding, it will be a little bit similar to our lintel. Okay, blinding a little bit similar to our lintel. Okay, so for the blinding, okay, for example, the lintel yesterday, our when we have our door and window, and then they will generate, they will auto arrange a lintel, right? Okay, so for the blinding as well,
Recording in progress.
okay, the name, we can just put it link concrete. The thickness, let's say I put it maybe 75 mm. Okay, I put it 75 mm. Okay, make sure blinding, link on, I put 75 mm. Okay, the name.
Recording in progress.
The whole building. Okay, all the part is being selected, and then we just right click to confirm. Okay, then it will come to an interface. Please input the extension. Right, so let's say if you have from layout plan, okay, from layout plan, this is your PowerCap. If you are setting certain value, okay, let's say you will set 100. Let's say you set 100 here, it will be a 100 extension throughout the edges, okay, throughout the edges of the PowerCap. Right. So in this case, you guys can just proceed with 0. Okay, I will make maybe 100 to let you see the differences. Okay, if you put it at 0, if you put it at 0, you won't see anything. Okay, but I'm actually putting 100. I have the protrude part. You can actually see on your 3D. Just beneath the PowerCap, you will have your blinding is being generated up. Okay, you will have a PowerCap being generated up. Okay, anyone able to get the blinding? If you are able to get, give me maybe comment me a blinding comment. Okay, let me know. Yeah. All right, blinding. Okay. Right, so make sure for the blinding, the function we can use auto arrange, similar to door window opening. There is opening, there will be lintel. If there is a power cap or any foundation, there will be a lintel auto arrange on it, right? So extension, whether or not you want to put it extension. So the extension, it will be govern also the differences between in terms of the excavation quantity. Okay, so for the excavation, for example, this, as you can see, okay, for excavation, it will be take the full width. It will take the full width for the extension taking part. So in this case, you will have the extension. So you will have the excavation to cover the blinding. Okay, everyone able to get the blinding, right? Okay, there will be the blinding part. Okay, so there will be our blinding method to auto generate it, right? So for the next one, it will be on the excavation. Okay, so for the excavation, okay, so for the excavation, we actually can stick back to the blinding. Okay, we stick back at the blinding, you will see in the draw tab, we have a function of auto generate excavation. Meaning to say, I auto generate excavation by, if there is a blinding, okay, by the blinding mode. Okay, so a little bit clarification to you guys. In the blinding, you will see auto generate excavation. In the pocket, you also will see a auto generate excavation. Okay, so you have to make sure if you are at power cap. Okay, let's say I'm drawing a section. Okay, so let's say this is your power cap and you actually have your blinding underneath. Okay, so if you're at power cap to generate the auto generate excavation, the excavation, it will take place from here until the beneath of your power cap only. So meaning to say your height of the excavation, it will be not counting, it will be not counting the blinding thickness, the 75 mm. Okay, that means your volume will be lesser, right? So this is not the thing that we want. If you want without the blinding, yes, you can use the power cap. Okay, because some of the quantity we measuring, yeah, is without blinding, but most of it we actually include the blinding, the thickness, right? So make sure in the blinding, okay, in the blinding, we choose for this auto generate excavation, right? You also can do it another way is, and the excavation here, you create one by one the element list, but we have a function, you can actually directly auto generate excavation based on the blinding, okay, based on the blinding. So at the blinding, okay, we click on the auto generate excavation. Okay, we click on the auto generate excavation. Right, so there will be three functions. Okay, the first it will be on the pit excavation. Okay, pit excavation is actually useful for example, for pad foundation, for pile cap, it will be on one pit strip foundation for ground or heavy excavation. Have, for example, you have a slab or you have a rough foundation. Okay, you have a total excavation for that particular horizontal element for rough foundation of slab. Okay, so we have three selection. You can actually choose for that: pit for excavation, trenches, and also heavy excavation. In our pile cap, we will be focusing on this pit excavation, and all the setting actually quite similar. Okay, it's quite similar. As you can see, this one is also everything is related to our working space and also the sloping. Okay, so now, okay, we're going to go in detail. So the first thing, you need that in stage. You know that we have the quantity. Okay, we will get the excavation quantity. We will get into, say, from 0 to 25, from by 2. If you refer to our SMM2, this one, yeah. One moment, let me open that. Yeah. Okay, so for section D is actually our excavation element. So you will have this depth classification that we need to quantify out the quantity from maximum depth not exceeding 0.25 to 1 meter, 2 meter, 4 meter, and 2 meter thereafter. Right. So we actually have this depth classification. Okay, meaning to say later on when we generate our quantity, it will be segregated out. For example, if there's a total 4 meter, there will be a total 4 meter. So for until 4 meter, the depth, okay, the volume of it, for example, this one is 2 meter cube, 2 meter cube, 3 meter cube, and 2 meter cube. So the total is 9 meter cube. But we need to segregate into this particular form. The reason why we need to have the depth classification is when we go deeper, okay, when we excavate deeper, there will be more retaining structure we need to incur. Okay, there will be more retaining structure, temporary retaining structure we need to incur. Okay, and also some working space to meet anything, right? So those are the things that we actually need to take care of. It's actually reflected to our cost indirectly, to our rate indirectly, right? So in this case, okay, a little bit explanation. So we have the depth classifications by 0.25, 1, 2, 4, right? So in our software, we are not actually inserting 0.25, 1, 2, 4 directly. We actually need to insert 0.25, 0.75 to become a cumulative of 1 meter. Okay, 1 plus 1 will become 2, 2 to 4. Okay, and then that's the 2 meter. So it will be in this scenario. So we need to say 0 to 0.25, it will become 0.25 net. Okay, 0.75, it will become net 1 meter, net 2 meter, 4 meter, and 2 meter thereafter. Right. So yeah, the software is designed in this way. We need to have a little bit subtraction that we need to do it. Okay, so it's not directly input in 0.25, 1, 2, 4. Is we need to put in 0.25, and then the balance of 1 minus 0.25 is 0.75. Okay, 2 minus 1 is 1, this is 2. So you will have the ultimately is 0.25, 0.75, 1, 2, 4 thereafter. Right. So I'm going to explain this one later. So for the excavation, it will be generated to you two quantity. One is pit excavation and one is pit excavation unit. Okay, pit excavation and pit excavation unit. So we need to say if we change, okay, if we insert this particular information, Okay, so later on, when we get the quantity, I will get the quantity from this range. Okay, so this 6, 79, 46, and 2.622, I will get 165 meter cube. Right, so from here, we also will have this classification standard of depth. This classification standard of depth also is actually same with our SMM2. The differences is it will be only categorized to you that particular pit, the excavation depth. Okay, it will go to that. Is it more than 2 to less than 4? Okay, it will be only noted in this particular format, and the total is actually similar, 165. Okay, so, but normally when we want to derive our quantity to the BQ, we will need to use this format of it, this format of the volume. Okay, we segregate out to the depth stage. Okay, so with that, the unit depth in stage, we are going to input in. Okay, one of the things we are going to input is actually 0.25 and then semicolon. Okay, it will be in this format. Okay, it's 0.25 semicolon 0.75 semicolon 1 semicolon 2 2 after. Okay, 2 after. So you can just insert into a unit depth in stage. Okay, so you can just refer to the notepad I'm inserting for you. 0.25, 0.75, 1, 2, and therefore 2 meter every. All right. Okay, nice. So the next one, it will be on width of working space. Okay, so in this case, as our training for these 3 days actually on contractor site. Okay, so for contractor, you also need to determine what is the purpose for you to quantify out excavation. Okay, let's say for the main claim, and we note that the main claim we have the preamble with the consultant. All those working space, it need to be rate inclusive. Therefore, our quantity need not to include the working space. Okay, so if your purpose is to do your main claim, okay, to submit to your consultant, okay, then in this working space, I need to put 0. I need to put 0 because our preamble said, perhaps, okay, depend on your agreement or your preambles with your client, okay, with your consultant. If he said your rate have to inclusive for the working space, then your quantity is not going to calculate for this working space. Okay, if you allow for some reading, some value here, the quantity it will be more. Okay, and consultant will challenge you that your rate when you doing the tendering, okay, is actually inclusive of your working space. Therefore, you are not able to claim for this particular working space. You have to put that at 0. Right. Vice versa, if you are quantifying the quantity to your maybe your subcontractor and saying that you don't have this kind of the preambles, okay, so you will need the subcontractor will claim you with the working space, okay, and the rate comparing the rate, it will be lower compared to the main claim rate, right? So in this case, you can actually put that some value in this. Okay, you can put some value. Okay, third one, slope input method. Similarly, okay, do you need to include some slope? Okay, if you refer to the diagram here, if I include some slope here, I will have this. I'll have this triangle, additional triangle volume, okay, into our quantity. So similar thing, okay, if it include in our rate, if not, we can actually just measure it. If yes, okay, we cannot put it any value. Okay, and then the 2 selection, slope angle and also slope coefficient. Okay, slope angle, it will be on on degree. Slope coefficient, it was something like a gradient. Okay, 1 to 10, 1 to 20. Okay, right. So in this case, I'm not going to put any working space. Put it as 0. Coefficient, I also put it as 0. Right. Sloping position. So if our sloping coefficient is 0, there will be nothing. Okay, it bring no effects whether it's soffit or actually it's the top of the blinding. Okay, I just leave it. Okay, and generation mode. This generation mode, okay, you will have the auto mode and manual mode. Say I have, for example, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 power cap. If I click auto mode, it will be generating for 6 number of excavation. Okay. If I selecting manual mode, I can actually drag and select, for example, I want these 2 and I want these 2 as well. Okay, to generate the excavation. And these 2, I don't want to have the excavation. Okay, you can actually do it by manual mode, but normally I will just do it auto mode. Okay, when you use manual mode, the situation is perhaps the existing ground level is actually different comparing to the others power cap, the others maybe the topography, okay, it will be different. Okay, the topography is actually different, so you have a different contour, so you have a different existing ground level to start your excavation, right? So the next one, the advanced settings, this classification standard of the depth, okay, by default 0.25, 124. In this, we're not going to change this 0.25, 0.75 this. This is only to show you by using the range, you get the volume of it. Okay, so we can just stick to 0.25, 124. Right? And I just click on OK. Okay, make sure you need that, you already accordingly, you set it. Working space, I put 0, slope 0, auto mode, and I click on OK. Okay. Okay, you can try to see your 3D, see whether your excavation is being generated nicely. Right? So I have another situation. If you refer to my screen, okay, and I see my 3D, is any one of you having the same problem as mine? No? Okay. Yes? Okay. So how about our friend from the Zoom? Any one of you having the same problem as mine? It's something like KLCC? No. All right. Okay. No. Right. Aini, yes. Okay. Right. So we have Aini and also Brian having this issue. Right. So what is this issue actually representing? Okay. So let me come to here. Okay. Right. Still remember our project setting, our floor settings. The bottom elevation of our ground floor is actually 83.4, right? 83.4. And our project information, if you are having the KLCC type of excavation, same as mine, in our ground elevation, it put it at 0. Okay, what it meant is, and I mentioned to you, this ground elevation is the starting point of our excavation, right? So from the software, it will read as, yes, we actually have our power cap, our blinding, our soffit of the blinding is actually at 81.9. Okay, so I'm currently at this. All right. Okay. So at this tip point, at the blinding, my point is 81.9. Okay, and in ground elevation is our starting point of excavation, and I didn't change it, and I still remain it as a 0. 0.00. So therefore, your excavation height is equal to 81.9 minus 0. It will be a total of 81.9 meter. Okay, and then you times with your area. Okay, so this is the thing, it will show you the KLCC view, right? To become a normal. Okay, to make it to normal, first thing, we back to 2D. Okay, I'm Brian. Okay, go to the batch, and then you select for the all excavation. Okay, I just select all excavation, click on OK, and then I just press delete. Okay, I just press delete. Okay, after you press delete, at your pit excavation at the element list, we need to delete everything. Okay, we try to delete everything. Okay, we just keep on deleting the whole thing. Okay, make until the element list is empty, right? In pit excavation, make the element list is empty. Okay, we keep on deleting the whole thing. Right? So after you delete, okay, everything is clear on the element list. We back to the project settings. We need to change back the ground elevation. The ground elevation, if I still remember, is actually 83.2. Okay, 83.2, right? 83.2. Okay, our ground elevation. Okay, remember everyone, the only thing project information won't take effect on quantity except this ground elevation. And this ground elevation is our starting point of excavation, right? Starting point excavation. And this elevation is correlated to our floor settings here, right? So after we change to become 83.2, back to the blinding, okay, we do the same step again. Back to the blinding. In the blinding, auto generate excavation. Okay, make sure everything is correct. I just click on OK. Right, and then you try to see your 3D again. Okay, you try to see your 3D. Okay, so in this case, the excavation is actually being generated starting from 83.2. Okay, 83.2. So, okay, so for each of the excavation, okay, they will have excavation unit, right? So these are the things that just now we created. Okay, the PT, the first one, 0 to 0.25, 0.25 to 1 meter, and then 1 to 2 meter. Okay, so we will have this in stage. Okay, the quantity in stage. It will quantify out PT, quantity in stage. Right, so in that case, we try to calculate. Okay, we try to calculate to see what are the things that we actually achieving from yesterday until today. Right, so from here, similarly, go to quantity to click on calculate. Okay, and we try to calculate the all floors. Okay, and we try to open the view quantity by category. So since yesterday, we only able to get the column, right? So from yesterday, we actually have our wall, door, lintel, beam, slab, room, the finishers, parquet, blinding, and the pit excavation unit. So each of the information here, you can actually export to Excel, okay? And you can actually set the classification and quantity as you wish for the name, okay? For all other thickness, for example, maybe, okay? Or your own preference, right? So excavation. So for excavation, as you can see, it generates into two. First is this one, pit excavation is only having the more than two, less than two. We have item from 1 until 12, total 62 meter cube. But what I want to know is actually by using the depth, okay, the staging. So as I see from here, I have a staging for 0.25, 0.0 to 0.25, okay, from 0.25 to 1 meter and 1 to 2 meter. So I have also the same quantity, 62.886. Okay, it's actually same as this one, the pit excavation. But the quantity that I want is not this one. Okay, I want it to become the staging. So those are the quantity that I can have. And you can export to Excel, right? So with that, okay, a little bit additional information. Okay, this one is actually not taught in basic training. Okay, so normally, still remember yesterday when I'm showing you, let's say you have a horizontal element and you have a vertical element. For example, this is your column and this is your beam, right? Vertical element will take precedence, right? So this overlapping part, column will take precedence, okay? And beam, it will be being deducted, okay? Let's say in some scenario, you want it to become beam will take full volume, column, you want it to be deducted, okay, from the column volume. How we can actually do the settings, right? In the quantity tab, we actually have two things, this measurement method. Okay, whatever we set, okay, whatever we have, okay, in SMM2 is actually in measurement settings. Okay, so don't get confused. Measurement SMM2 rules, I will need to refer to the rules. Okay, it's not, okay, it's actually in measurement settings. Measurement rules is the place for you to set, do you want to have in the overlapping part, do you want to do any deduction? Okay, so for this measurement settings, for example, I click on it, you will see those kind of each of the element, you will have the setting you can set. If you didn't do any settings here, okay, it's actually preset as per SMM2. We don't need to do any settings from here. Okay, for example, the sorting height is 3.5, right? It's starting for 3.5. If you have any amendment on SMM2, okay, you have any supplement agreement, okay, to have the amendment on the SMM2, you can actually change it in here. If you don't worry. Okay, the next one will be on the measurement rules. These measurement rules, how you can actually read from here is, okay, so first, let's say, okay, I'll take a scenario. This just now is the beam and also the column. Okay, so I can actually select for column first, and then I can relate back to, okay, if I click on this all, right, okay, if I click on the column, I want to know that the interrelated element is actually beam. I can filter the relevant element. If not, if I'm not filtering everything, every element together with column, you will have around 194 rules. You are unable for you to find. You can just click on it. You deselect everything. I just want to see beam, okay, which is I only want to see for column and also the beam. And in this case, you only have 13 things you need to set. And if you want to set only volume, okay, from the drop down, you can just select for the volume. So it will be 5 items that interconnected. Okay, so from here, measurement method or original volume of the column. By default, we pick original volume. Deduction of the beam from volume of in situ column, right? The sentence is actually directly straight from Chinese. Okay, sometimes you will when you read it, you will see like, it's actually it's not a common it's not a common common vocab that we actually use. Okay, so the deduction of the beam from volume of in situ column, meaning to say there will be no effect, means column will take full height. Okay, so if I want to beam to take full volume, I will need to deduct the beam occupied volume. Okay, and vice versa, if I selecting this particular rules, okay, another way around, they will have to refer to, okay, I'm referring this deduction of beam from the in situ column. So from here, there'll be deduction of column in situ from the volume of in situ beam. Okay, so in this case, you need to change it, these rules. Okay, so currently it will be for the beam volume, it will deduct the column volume. So I already changed this one. This one I already need to change it to become no effect. If not,
Recording in progress.
complete model in TAS is only have the architecture and structural quantity. So we can actually by a medium of a cubic file. Okay, from here, this TS, I have a TS file. Okay, I will have later on, I have a cubic file. Okay, I can export from TS and I open my TRB, I import my TRB, I import my cubic model. Okay, so that in your TRB also will have the full model. Okay, then
Recording in progress.
okay, and you open your TS, you import it into your TS. You also will have this model file. Okay, and then you will just calculate and you get the quantity for the concrete formwork, okay, and all other finishes. Okay, so with that, okay, in the TS, okay, we're going to go for this beam model, right? You can click on the beam model, okay, everyone. You click on the beam model, okay, click on the beam model, and then you will see there is a cubic model tab here. Okay, so in this, we are going to export the model. Okay, in the export model, they have two functions: export model by floor and export model by entity. Okay, export model by floor, you will be selecting the all floors or any typical floor you want to select. Okay, you can just copy everything. Okay, export it everything. Export model by entity, meaning to say you will have your selection. For example, I will make few changes. I just select these few entities and I import to TRB to make changes. Okay, right? So from this, we actually need to use this export model by floor. Okay. At B model, select export model by floor. Okay, the drop down, select the whole project. Okay, we select the whole project and then we click on OK. Okay, by default, it will have a file name same as my TAS file name. Okay, that's the data that I prepare. Okay, and the file format is actually .cubic. Okay, and I click on save. Okay, I save it in desktop. Right. So from the desktop, you are able to locate. You're able to locate one file. The file is actually quite easy to identify. TAS, I have TAS file in green color. Cubic, I have a cubic file. It's actually combination of green color and also the blue color, right? And later on, I import my cubic model to TRB. I have my TRB folder. Sorry, my TRB file. My TRB file, it will be in blue color. Okay, it will be in blue color. So this is a transition, this cubic file. Okay, you have the differences of it. Okay. So we can just close on our TAS. Okay, we just close on our TAS. Before we go for our lunch break, I would like to introduce to you on our TRB, the interface. Okay, to let you see what is the differences compared to TAS. Okay. So for TRB, okay, we can just double click and then launch the TRB. Okay, everyone able to get the TRB, right? So the login will be same as the TAS. Okay, the login is same as the TAS. Right. So this will be the interface of our TRB, the latest version 4988. So similarly, from the left-hand side, you can actually check for your version. Okay, the option, okay, is actually similar to our TS. Workspace, e-learning, any updates. Right-hand side, any news that we have. Right. So to create a new project, okay, we just click on the new. And then similarly, I just put today's date. Okay, you can just create a new project and then put on today's date. And basic training bracket, my name. Okay, and the calculation rules, I have Malaysia, British Standard, and Singapore Euro code. So if you have a project in Singapore, you can actually use this Singapore Euro code, but it will be determined by your license as well. Okay, if you have purchased the license, additional license for Euro code, you actually can use it. Okay, the differences for the Euro code, they like to use the development length. Okay, for us, it will be accurate and lapping, right? So Malaysia, and then you click on confirm. Okay, it will be opening the project now. Right, so when you come to the interface of the TRB, similarly, there are a few things we need to making sure. So as we know, it's from left to right. From left to right, we have our tab and our ribbon here. Okay, so we have our navigation bar, and from the left hand side, the element tab. Similarly, I can just drag it. Okay, drag it, and I will need to have my element list and element attribute editor. Right, there will be my first element list and my attribute editor. Okay, so there will be a slight difference compared to TAS. Okay, in TAS, what we are having is this is my element list, and below is actually my attribute editor. But in TRB, it will be a little bit different. The attribute editor just at the right hand side. Okay, and you opening your drawing manager is actually upside down. It's actually changing the positioning. Okay, in TAS, drawing manager at the right hand side. Okay, so this is the differences in terms of the interface, right? So, okay, we're going to import our model first. Okay, import our model, right? So we similar things. We back to the BIM model. Okay, everyone, we back to the BIM model. Okay, just now in TAS we export from TAS, and then in TRB we're going to import the model. Okay, in BIM model we left click on the BIM model here. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to select the folder. We need to select the file. Okay, we click on the folder icon, and then in the desktop you will need to find this cubic file. Okay, find the cubic file, and then we click on open. Okay, once it will have a prompt stating to you is completed the resolve model file, and then we click on start. Okay, so we are done for the select. We're going to have match setting, import scope, and finish. We have 4 steps. Okay, so for the match setting, the mesh zone, okay, is okay. Is in zone 1 for TAS, zone B also TAS, or zone B 11. For the floor height, they have some inconsistent. Every project that be created in TAS or TRB, there will be a default 3 floors: foundation, ground floor, and first floor. And the default height is 3 meter. Okay, in TRB. So, but in TAS, I have 4 meter, 4 meter, 1.5. Therefore, I need to make sure I need to use the floor height in TAS. I need to tick it. I need to tick it. Okay, and then I click on next step. Okay, click on next steps. And step number 3, we'll be having what are the floor you want to import in, and what are the elements you want to import with the model. Okay, so I will need to select everything, the whole thing. Everything is being selected, and then I click on next step. Okay, so it will need some time to import. Okay, there will be a prompt importing completed. You are recommended to check the validity. Check the validity means it's actually our gap check. Okay, it's actually our gap checking, and then we just click on finish. Right. Okay. After you're able to get the able to get the model in our TRB, but there are little bit there's actually a slight bug that we are currently having. If you try to click on the 3D, as you can see, if you click on the 3D, the movement is actually a little bit stronger compared to TAS. Okay, if you try to move your model, okay, this is a little bit bug they're actually having, right? How to overcome it? We back to 2D. Okay, we back to 2D. So you just click on this subtab, okay, this module. You just click on single element or BQ or report. We click on single element, okay, it will load to the single element interface, and then we back to modeling. Okay, you back to modeling, and then you try to see your 3D, then it will back to normal like TAS. Okay, so bear with us for this minor bugs you are currently having for this version. So make sure you go to 2D, back to the single element first, and then we back to the modeling. Okay, so you're able to get your 3D. The movement is not big as just now, right? And we try to view the all floors. So all floor is actually, everything is actually being copied, okay? Actually being export and import to our TRB. But there are a few things, okay? There are things that are not copied to here. Okay, the first thing it will be, the most common thing will be on our finishes. Okay, so in TRB it's actually to measure the structure elements reinforcement. Okay, so we don't have any architecture. So when you copy it indirectly, the architecture will be eliminated, right? So these are the preparation steps. So we are not going to repeat the whole step as in TAS at the very beginning. Okay, we create axis grid line, import drawing, okay, and then we relocate everything and then they draw it one by one. So we can make full use of this information. So later on coming back, okay, what we need to do is we will just need to, for example, column. Okay, for example, column, I have few items. Okay, from here, I will just need to input my information from this attribute editor, and I have the reinforcement bar easily. Okay, I will just need to input the information. I don't need to model out already. Okay, later on, right? So for later, we will have few elements. We have pile cap. Okay, we have column, we have slab, we have RC wall, and the last part we will have the beam. Okay, beam, I'm going to move to the last part because it will be on. We have 4 methods we're going to input for the beam. Okay, we're going to focus the beam in the last part, right? So with that, we are considered ready for the TRB when coming back from our lunchtime. So make sure you save the file also for the TRB. Save the file of the TRB, okay, in my desktop before you leave for your lunch break. Okay, you save it. Okay, make sure everything is correct. Okay. So yeah, it's 12 o'clock now. Okay, we're going to have our lunch break. Okay, at 12 until 2. Coming back at 2 p.m. sharp, okay, we're going to continue for our TRB rebar information input for 5 elements: column, pile cap, RC wall, slab, and also the beam. Okay, that will be for today's syllabus, right? So yeah, we can actually dismiss, and we see you guys at 2 p.m.
Recording stopped.